Well, additional thoughts time for Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist. Got a couple of notes. This will be pretty straightforward. I don't think there's going to be anything revolutionary here in terms of what I have to share with my opinion on the album. Great album. Really enjoyed it. You know, the first note I put was, it's so nice to listen to an album that's 10 songs, 35 minutes. You know, some of the releases this year have been a little long. And it's just like, you guys are killing me. Just a little bit. You're killing me. And there's been debates about if it's because of the streaming world and trying to get numbers and all this other stuff. And whatever the cause is, it doesn't really matter. You know, the end result is the same as some long albums have been coming out. And not that that's necessarily bad, but sometimes it's like, you know, there's a lot to be said about an album that's concise, to the point, some great songs, and then you're done. And with this one specifically, what I do enjoy quite a bit with The Alchemist and what he has done is I love how he's woven the 10 tracks together through either sample usage or by winding down the beat, shifting it around and kind of giving it a little bit of a tumble, and then it takes the form of the beat of the next song, and you just go. So you put the album on, it rolls for 35 minutes, it's done like that, which... You know, I was gonna say maybe that's not necessarily a good thing because you don't want it to be over so fast, you know. But 35 minutes, it goes quick because it's all woven together so well. It's kind of almost one track, but it's not at the same time. Like you can pop in favorite tracks for me. Skinny Suge, I think, is my favorite track. I love the guitar sample. I love that this guy Freddie Gibbs, who says all kinds of stuff on the album and has said other things too, that make him a little, haggard. He's lived a life, for sure. To hear him open up a bit about the struggles he went through and some of the bullshit he was dealing with of trying to make it as a rapper in the, what do you want to call it? The unintended consequence of selling drugs and those drugs being given to a person who ends up selling those drugs to his own uncle who ends up overdosing on said drugs. Like, that's wild, man. That's wild. And so for him to open up about that and just talk about that, and yeah, it's a pretty powerful song, in my opinion. Another one that I really like is Something to Rap About. Basically, the two tracks that have the guitar samples, in my opinion, are just fantastic. I love the guitar samples. And on Something to Rap About, what's really cool, too, is Freddie has his verse, and then The Alchemist kind of like puts you underwater a little bit, which is great. He takes that production and he kind of muffles it a bit, and then it comes back out and it's a little bit lighter. The sound is just a little bit lighter on the guitar. And Tyler starts talking about how, this Freddie sent this to me and it sounds like the boat I haven't bought yet and jumping in the water and the sunshine. Because that's just how it sounds, man. I like that little production interlude that exists between the two verses because it kind of feels like the musical version of jumping into the water, jumping into the production, and then you come out and there it is again, and it's all beautiful, sunny and stuff like that. And then honestly, these three could probably be tied for first, like interchangeable. Frank Lucas. I like Frank Lucas. I mean, it's just dark. It's sinister. I like how Look at Me, it kind of rolls out of Look at Me and the sound change, and you get that burp. And then it just rolls into Frank Lucas, man. Great track. But overall, the whole album is fantastic. I mean, it's hard to find anything negative to say about it for me because it is so concise and just to the point. Crack off a bunch of good songs. You don't waste any time, and then it's through. I got a lot of good spins on it. I'm taking 2 weeks now for additional sauce instead of one, and so that's been nice because I'd go a couple days, put it on, maybe put it on again, go a day, put it on, and every time I came back to it, I was like, this is just excellent. So there's that. And I did have a note too. I feel like this album brings up the question of, what is more important, the rapper or the producer? And I feel like this album is kind of a musical version of the yin and the yang, where it's pretty well balanced between what the producer is doing with the beats and the music and what the rapper is doing with the lyrics and the flow and the sound of his own voice, his own vocal performance. And so I tossed that around. I did say during the reaction how I felt like because The Alchemist had created these kind of open, spacious, somewhat elegant beats. It felt like Freddie just had room to do whatever. No constraints, no limitations, whatever he wanted to do. And I feel like you hear, like, God is perfect. He's doing some stuff with his flow where it's almost hypnotic. It's kind of like the but he shifts around a lot, and he shifts around a lot through the album. And he still always sounds like Freddie. No surprise there, but it's just cool to feel like I'm listening to a rapper who is really just exploring the musical space. His cliche, that term always makes me crack up because I think of the Saturday Night Live skit with Christopher Walken and the cowbell and all that shit. Explore the space. I always start laughing when I think of that. But I feel like that's what's happening. And so I wonder, if this was a different producer, would it have turned out as good? And it's a stupid question to ask because the obvious answer is, well, it would obviously be different, And so it's hard to imagine it sounding different from what it is. But really, for me, the question is how much does that influence the rapper? If you take, I don't know what comes first in terms of creating a song like this, if a production is cranked out first, if the beat is decided upon beforehand, if someone's got lyrics set and now I need a beat to match it. I don't know. But I try to imagine Freddie just using these same types of lyrics like Skinny Suge. Does Skinny Suge work as well with a different beat? I don't know. And it's just one of those weird hypothetical, musical parallel universes to ponder, but you can never ever be there and find out what the actual answer is. But it's cool. Very cool album. I'm glad I got to it. I kind of feel bad it took me so long to get to it because it is great. It's a great album. I enjoyed pretty much every time I put it on. And that's kind of it. Not a lot of amazing, mind-blowing, new angles to put on this album. It's just cool. It's cool. And I like that. So often I care about the story and something being told throughout the duration of an album. And it's just, then you listen to something like this and you don't. It's not required. It's not required. There's something to be said about getting together with a couple people and just making a collection of great songs and calling it a day, And I like that. There was one other thing I wanted to say. So for those of you who did not see the Patreon, the full reaction where I do the music video reactions, I was cracking up over the music video for Babies and Fools with Conway, especially with like Conway the Machine, where he's talking about, I got to give them all of me and I got to be there for my kids and all this other shit. And the video is shot in a strip club. There were so many times I'd be listening to this song and listening to the lyrics, and then an image would just pop into my brain of Freddie Gibbs and Conway the Machine in a strip club. Fantastic. Just perfect. Okay, there you go. There's additional thoughts for Alfredo. Great album. Glad I got to listen to it. People mentioned something about Madlib. There's another one with Madlib. I think it's Madlib and Freddie. Is that Pinata? That might be Pinata. I'm totally blanking on it right now. Yeah, that's my bad. Anyway, more Freddie for sure. A couple people mentioned some other Alchemist projects that are excellent. I got to listen to. I enjoy both, so expect more from both eventually at some point. When? I don't know, but yes, eventually. All right, y'all. Take care. We'll see you soon.